So the unit circle is one of the things from a trig course that would probably be utilized most by you throughout a calculus course, especially if you have a teacher or professor that's requiring for you to do some work with trigonometry that doesn't necessarily allow you to use a calculator. And most calculus courses are very likely to be structured that way. So a lot of people that I've spoken to in the past that I haven't necessarily taught any trig to, I say, hey, what do you know about the unit circle? And they say, well, I had this page that I got in Trig and we labeled some angles on it, we put some numbers on it, and we basically just used that for reference anytime we needed to use it. But what I want to make sure we talk about over the course of this video is how we can basically build that page from scratch. And I guess I shouldn't have said in this video, because it's going to more likely be a sequence of videos where we kind of work up to being able to do any trig evaluation for any multiple of 30, 45, 60, or 90-degree angles. So the two most important characteristics you need to know about the unit circle is that it's called the unit circle because it has a radius of 1 unit. And the unit circle is always positioned in the coordinate plane. It's not just a circle with a radius of 1 unit, it's a circle with a radius of 1 unit that's drawn into the coordinate plane, and it has its center at 0, 0. So if we click ahead here, I have myself a coordinate plane, right? You see my x-axis working across, my y-axis working up and down. These points right here that you see on the x and y-axis, that would be 1, 0, right? Because if the radius of this is 1 unit and it's centered at 0, 0, then the coordinates of this point would be 1, 0. The coordinates of the point up here would be 0 for x, 1 for y. Now we are in the coordinate plane. This is a place where I see some people get messed up a little bit from time to time. They kind of forget that they're in the coordinate plane and they think that the x value over here is 1. It's actually -1, right? Although the radius here, the measure of this distance is 1, because we're in the coordinate plane, we're working with our x coordinate to the left 1 unit, and then the y coordinate would be 0. Then I have to scroll down to show you the last one. But if I just go down to this ordered pair right here, I'm still looking at a radius of 1 on this circle that's centered at 0, 0. My x-coordinate is 0. My y-coordinate down there is -1. So there are these four really, really nice locations on the unit circle, and we just took a few seconds to identify each of them. So what makes this even more useful is the little bit of trigonometry that we're going to talk about next. So if I were to plot an angle in standard position, so a standard position angle simply means that your angle is going to originate along the positive stretch of the x-axis, and it's going to terminate as you work your way counterclockwise around that circle. So if you're just kind of eyeballing this angle here, this might be like, I don't know, a 35-degree angle or something like that. It seems like it's not quite halfway through the first quadrant. If I would have plotted an angle that looked like this, straight in and then straight up, that would of course be a 90-degree angle. That's definitely not what we're looking at. So we're looking at, I don't know, a 35-degree angle, a 40-degree angle. It doesn't really matter what the measure of that angle is, just so long as we realize it's plotted in standard position. Now here's what really makes the unit circle useful. It's what makes the unit circle possible to build without necessarily going to that reference sheet that I mentioned a little bit earlier in this discussion. This point right here sits on the circle, right? I've labeled that point simply as x, y. Now check out what happens if I draw myself a right triangle, and you see that it's already drawn in here in blue, so I'll just highlight over it. If I draw in a triangle to the unit circle like I've just done, it's clearly a right triangle. We've got this right angle down here made with the positive stretch of the x-axis. Therefore, SOHCAHTOA applies, right? Right triangle trigonometry applies to any right triangle. And even more powerful than that is this. If I've called this point x, y, think about this distance across the x-axis here. That's just the same x-coordinate as this point has. So this distance across the x-axis can simply be represented by whatever the value of x is. Similarly, this distance up from the x-axis is whatever the coordinates of y would be. So I can label the legs of this triangle as x along the bottom and then y working my way up. They have the same x and y values. The values of these are the same as the ordered pair that we arbitrarily called x, y a few minutes ago. And then think about this last side. Normally when you know two of the three sides, and I guess we don't truly know these two sides, we've just labeled them as x and y. I could say x squared plus y squared equals z squared. Since this is a right triangle, the Pythagorean theorem also applies. But this is a unit circle that we've drawn this triangle into. And think about this hypotenuse that you see right here on the triangle. It starts at where the circle is centered and it ends on the boundary of the circle. So that distance is really going to be 1 unit, right? It's really a radius of the circle. So what can we do to allow us to get some trig ratio values from this thing? Well, if you think about this angle that I've arbitrarily called theta, right? It's their standard position angle, theta, 35 degrees, 40 degrees, whatever it might be. We kind of threw out those two values a little bit earlier in this discussion. What I can do is I can think about any of the pieces of SOHCAHTOA that I want. The pieces that we're going to focus in on are the first syllable and that second syllable. So the syllable that tells you the shortcut for the sine ratio, and then the syllable that tells you the shortcut for the cosine ratio. We'll deal with the cosine ratio first. So cosine is equal to adjacent divided by hypotenuse. So you always have to reference the angle that's going into your trig ratio. In this case, we're going to use the angle theta, the angle that we have plotted in standard position. So cosine of that angle that we've plotted is going to be equal to the adjacent leg divided by the hypotenuse of the triangle. Well, adjacent to this angle theta right here is the side that's along that angle that is not the hypotenuse, and that would be the side that measures x units. And then the hypotenuse of this triangle is clearly 1. So if I build the ratio for cosine of adjacent divided by hypotenuse using x for adjacent and 1 for hypotenuse, x divided by 1 is just x. So think about what we've just said. We've just said that cosine of theta is equal to x over 1, but x over 1 is just equal to x. So the x coordinate, whatever this x value might be, this length right here across the x-axis, that corresponds to cosine of the angle. And because we did this arbitrarily, that applies to any point that we ever would plot on the circle. Any point. If I plot that point here, think about the standard position angle. If I drew myself my connecting segment, whatever this angle is right here, the x coordinate of that point is going to represent cosine of that angle. Similarly, if we focus on the sine portion of the SOHCAHTOA shortcut, sine of our angle theta is going to be equal to the opposite leg divided by the hypotenuse. Well, opposite of the angle theta, we see a measure of y units. So opposite, we have y. Hypotenuse, right? Sine is opposite divided by hypotenuse. So opposite is y. We've already got the y there. Divided by hypotenuse. Well, we used that in the cosine ratio a minute ago. That's still 1. Y divided by 1 is equal to y. So the thing that you really need to know, and you can produce it from scratch. I've really kind of talked about the details of this derivation throughout this discussion. You can do this trigonometry on the fly if you just want to kind of derive it over the course of 30 seconds or so whenever you need it. Or if you want to memorize that if you have a unit circle, which is simply a circle with a radius of 1 centered at 0, 0, the x coordinate of any point on that circle represents cosine of the angle that you've plotted. The y coordinate of the point that you've plotted is going to represent sine of the angle that's represented in standard position. So it's easy to accidentally invert these and sync up sine with the x coordinate and cosine with the y coordinate. The way that you can hopefully keep this straight, just use alphabetical order. The two main trigonometric ratios, the ones the unit circle helps us directly with, are sine and cosine. Cosine has a letter that starts earlier in the alphabet than sine does. Cosine is therefore represented by the variable that's earlier in the alphabet than the other. X and C go together, Y and S go together. So in the next few videos, we'll actually try to use what we've built within this video to try to evaluate some trigonometric ratios.